Who needs a sugar daddy when you can be your own? In this video, I'm going to share with you 5 money habits for baddies, okay? For the ambitious women out there who want to secure the bag and create their dreamiest dream life, okay? I'm going to tell you the 5 tips that I wish somebody had told me. So watch this video all the way till the end. Let's dive in. Hello, beautiful. So I'm Chanel and I'm the founder of the Rich Babe Society. And over here, we talk to hotties who know they get to be spiritual, rich, hot, and happy, right? Right. So if that's you and you know you want to become spiritual, rich, and hot and happy, then this is the space for you. Definitely subscribe and also check out the free Rich Babe Era quiz in the comments, in the description, because that's where I help you to figure out what's your biggest block to you becoming a rich babe and stepping into your rich babe era, okay? But all that being said, let's dive into the tea of this video. And so today I want to talk to you about how to become your own sugar daddy. Which, by the way, I'm not saying you can't have a man who still is a provider man and all that jazz. What I'm saying is we like overflow over here. So I'm going to tell you how to do your part of the overflow equation. Please don't watch please don't watch how shaggedy raggedy my fingernails look. I'm giving my nails a break, okay? Just bear with me. The first skill is going to be sales. You have to master sales. If you don't master sales, then you will always have a cap on your income. Mastering the art of sales literally means you have no limit on your income. Okay, you know, like in that story, Jack and the Beanstalk, where Jack goes and he finds the goose that lays the golden egg. Do you remember that, right? The goose that pops out golden eggs, meaning there is limitless access to wealth. Do you remember that story, right? We all heard it growing up. I want you to understand that the goose that lays the golden egg is actually mastering sales. That's number one. That's the first thing you need to do if you want to be a baddie who becomes your own sugar daddy. Ooh, that rhymes. But like, literally, mastering sales is the first tool. If you do not know how to sell, you immediately are beholden to what someone else is going to pay you. When you know how to sell, whether it's products or services or even ideas, whatever it is, when you know how to sell, you are able to then tap into limitless wealth. Because sales is simply transferring a service or a product to someone else who has a desire and receiving payment in advance. And so when you know how to do that and you know how to sell, there's no limit to how much money you can make. If you want me to make more videos specifically about sales, because sales is something that I love, how to sell without feeling sleazy or salesy or pushy, then drop some purple heart emojis in the comments and I will take that as a sign that you want me to make a video about sales and I'll make them. Sales changed the game for me because when I was a broke immigrant student, unable to work on my student visa, okay, being able to sell was how I was able to make extra money so that I could buy things for myself or travel around and just have a better quality of life. Me learning how to master sales is how I was able to have extra money. I was able to have a life beyond just my bills because I understood how to make sales and how to master sales. That allowed me even more freedom. After doing my master's degree, I've never worked for another person, ever. It's like ever. Like I've always just worked for myself since then, and it's because I've been able to master sales, right? And I've been able to live in that time in like half a dozen countries in that time as well. Like it is an invaluable skill, and even if you are working for someone, having that skill of sales that's how you can even sell your boss and getting you a higher salary or giving you a raise or whatever it is, right? Mastering sales is an invaluable skill that every woman should know, right? Like, yeah, fall in love with sales, please. The second thing that you want to be mastering if you want to become your own sugar daddy is you need to master people skills. Now, remember we talked about sales in number 1, right? But here's the thing, every sale comes through a person. So if you're not good with people, and people don't really feel that safety and trust with you, they're less likely to give you their money, right? Unless they have no choice, they're less likely to give you their money. So mastering people skills is really important. So I'm going to tell you a little quick story about how I was able to improve this skill for myself and what you can probably do yourself too. Now, when I was married to my first husband and I lived in Italy, we lived in Italy together. And at the time, I didn't really speak Italian very well. Like I speak Italian, sì, io parlo italiano, okay, but not enough to not to the level of like a native, obviously. And where I was living, the people weren't able to speak English as much, so they weren't as friendly because they couldn't understand me, I couldn't understand them. And so it limited my ability to be the social butterfly that I naturally am and the extrovert that I naturally am. In fact, I was like, I suppressed myself a lot. And so when I moved back to London, I actually was like, okay, I want to get my personality back. So one of the things I did was I went and I worked in a pub for a few weeks, because it was a restaurant and pub, because of course I'm taking orders and I'm like, hi, welcome, what do you want? You know, and what that did was it helped me to bring back my personality, because instead of me just being reserved, I like put myself out there to go talk to strangers. I also went to this adult summer camp where I didn't know anybody. I went by myself, this adult summer camp, and just threw myself out into the deep end to become a social butterfly again and to meet people again. I would go to games night where I didn't know anybody, and I would go over to random people and say, hey, can I sit at this table with you? And they're like, yeah, sure. And those people are still my friends to this day, right? So I would put myself in a position where I would get out of the box. And I know it's uncomfortable, but when you are able to get yourself out of your comfort zone and go meet people and interact with people and things like that, you build a network. And you may not become friends with everyone, but you will be able to have a connection with people. You'll become stronger. You'll be less afraid of rejection and afraid of judgment, and you'll be able to be bolder, which also then helps with sales, because again, we're talking about you becoming your own sugar daddy. So we need to increase the income here, and we do that through optimizing sales. And when you're good at people, when you're good with people, you're able to elicit more trust. And when you elicit more trust, you're able to like make more money. Like when you're able to talk to people, you're less afraid to like do something like this, for example, like make your YouTube video or post that reel, right? Or show up on social media, because you're less afraid of rejection and less afraid of judgment. You're still gonna feel uncomfortable, but you'll be less afraid of that kind of thing. And one of the beautiful things about having people skills is that there are many things that money can buy. Okay, money can buy many things, but there's some things that money can buy and you can get it without money because you are people like you, like genuinely. So I will literally go to a hotel and they will upgrade me to the best suite. I will literally be on a plane and they would move me up to the front of the plane. Like literally just because of my pleasant demeanor. I go and say, hi, how are you? I remember I had my bags at the airport once and I was like overweight by 10 pounds. 10 pounds. And the man looks at the scale and he's like, but his colleague's beside him, so he doesn't want to say like, hey, you're overweight by 10 pounds. He says, oh, you're only overweight by 1 pound. I think I'll just let this go through. And he like sends it through. Like, thank you so much. But I can see on the screen the weight and it's 10 pounds overweight. He lets it through anyway. So the point I'm making is there are many things that money can buy, but when you want to be your own sugar daddy and you have a pleasant demeanor, people want to give you things. Like, even when I was living in Italy, I just remember people would like, oh, here's a coffee, or oh, have some extra this, and oh, I brought you some extra this. And I'm like, thank you. And I'm not paying for any of this stuff. Even if I have the physical money to pay, I don't pay, because when you're a nice person, people want to give to you, and you're going to get things that have a monetary value versus you actually having to like hustle hard to make the money to pay for it. So be a good person. Like sometimes we think, oh, to be successful, it means you need to be this stuck up person. No, actually, from what I know, a lot of the people who I know who are successful and happy, not the unhappy like ones, but the ones who are genuinely happy, they have pleasant demeanors. They have hella strong boundaries. Like they won't just let you take up their time, but they are pleasant, right? And they have respect, and you respect them, because even when I think about like some of the influencers that I will follow that I love the most, they have hundreds of thousands, millions of subscribers or followers, but when I respond to something they say, they'll react to it or they'll reply to it. And even if, let's say, some of them have an assistant that's doing it, but they let you feel seen and heard. And when you have people feeling seen and heard, they want to be around you more. They trust you more. They want to tell more people about you. And guess what? If you are selling something, if you are a business owner, that is going to then lead to more trust and more growth for your business as well. And if you're a personal brand, that's also going to lead to more trust, and your reputation expands over time in that way too. Number 3 is the one that we all struggle with. I know for sure this is one that I definitely struggled with, and it's around discipline. Discipline with your spending, discipline with your word. If you say you're going to do something, be a woman of your word, or don't say it. So if you say you're going to go somewhere, go, or don't say it. If you say you're going to do something, like you say, oh, I'm going to go work out, I'm going to start working out, Like, do what you say you're going to do. Why? Number one, because confidence comes from the word confide, means to have trust in, which means if you trust in yourself, you will have confidence, right? But if you are somebody who goes back on your own word, you literally diminish your confidence. And people who have higher levels of confidence have a higher level of self-worth, have a higher self-esteem, and they tend to command a higher level of value in the marketplace. Not necessarily because they're more skilled, but because they have more confidence. We've all seen the people who they go on the interview, they don't have the qualifications like the other person, but because they have that confidence, they're able to get a better they get the job, right? But it's the same in business and online. You have people who they show up and they're confident, or even if they're faking it, their confidence on social media, but because they put out that aura of confidence, people want to be like them, people want to see them, they stand out to people, and so they draw in more eyeballs versus somebody who isn't confident, isn't doing what they say they're going to do. They're not trusting in themselves, they lower their own self-confidence. People, they don't have the discipline to do that. They don't have the integrity in themselves to do that. And it's not I'm not bashing you, by the way, if you were hearing me say this, and I'm saying like you don't have the integrity. I was that person who I would say I'm going to do something and I would not do it. I would procrastinate. Your ability to lead yourself is going to reflect in the marketplace. It's going to reflect in life. It's going to reflect with your impact. It's going to reflect in your income. So you have to be able to like drop any drama around that and just become the person who does what you say you're going to do. And here's what I do. When I'm not sure, I say, I'm not sure if I'm going to do that. I may do that. Or I just say, let me get back to you on that, rather than saying yes, because my yes is my yes and my no is my no, right? And it also makes me not like, if somebody tells me no, I also don't feel anyway, because when I say no, I want my no to be honored, right? So I respect that. But one of the other ways in which we're not disciplined is we're not disciplined with how we spend. Now, what would happen is, and maybe some of you have this, especially if you're an entrepreneur, you may have the money come in, but if you're not used to and disciplined to hold cash, you may find yourself spending it all the same day it comes in. So you're living paycheck to paycheck, or contract to contract, or invoice to invoice. So one of the disciplines that we have to craft is being disciplined with how we then manage the money, meaning this goes towards spending so that I can actually have a life, okay, and enjoy the money that I'm making. And then this goes to bills and this goes to reinvesting. Because when you have that discipline, you're able to then still nurture your human and be able to have fun with your money, but then you're able to also feel like, okay, some things are being taken care of, which gives you the motivation to want to make more. T. Harv Eker talks about this in his jars. He talks about like putting your money into jars, like 10% to fun and 50% to expenses. And what he says is that if you do not have that 10% for fun and all of your money is going to expenses, you will not want to make money. So therefore, you're trying to be your own sugar daddy, but if you're sabotaging your ability to make money because you're not actually giving yourself an allowance, you won't want to make more, because it's all just going to bills anyway and debts anyway, right? So you want to make sure that you're giving yourself an allowance. So having the discipline with that is going to be helpful in that regard. And one of the things that helped me with this is knowing that there's this phrase in sociology, I can't remember who said it exactly, but I learned this when I did sociology, and it said the culture of poverty, the culture of poverty is the inability to delay gratification. When you cannot delay gratification, you will become poor. When you cannot delay gratification, you will become poor. So that Uber Eats order or the DoorDash or the Deliveroo or whatever it is, when you cannot delay gratification, you will become poor, because the culture of poverty is the inability to delay gratification. So when you have that level of self-discipline, you're able to delay gratification. It's hard, I know. It's easier to stay in the old you, but do you like being not your own sugar daddy? Well, no. Okay, do you want to be your own sugar daddy? Yes. Well, then you have the discipline to do it. And this is like having safety, having masculine structures in your life. And a lot of times when I see like my clients and stuff, when they are resisting the masculine in their own lives, like they don't have that discipline, it's because there's somewhere along the way they have some kind of like father wound, or they didn't have a safe masculine structure. So you're resisting the masculine side of things. But it's safe to let yourself have a healthy balance of masculine and feminine energy. Not just feminine, but also having a healthy relationship with your masculine energy. If you want me to do a video about healthy masculine energy, drop a green heart, a green heart in the comments. Okay, so think about it this way, right? The next one is gonna be investing. Now, I want you to imagine this. I give you a bucket of mangoes. I love mangoes. I'll say mangoes. For you, use whatever fruit works for you. For me, it's mangoes. So imagine I give you a bucket of mangoes, right? And you could either eat the entire bucket of mangoes right now. You could take some of the bucket of mangoes. You could put some in a bowl on the counter. You could give some away. You could also take even one or two or a few of the mangoes, plant them in the earth, and have mango trees that will give you mangoes for life. Hundreds and hundreds of mangoes every year for the rest of your life. Even your children will be able to eat from these trees. Your children's children will be able to eat from these trees. You are creating generational wealth. What happens is mangoes for me is like the money, right? So you get the money, here's your salary, here's your paycheck, a client signs up, you got the invoice paid, people bought something from your store, and you spend it all. Or you hoard it, you save it, you just put it on the bowl and the counter. Guess what happens when you hoard it, when you put it on the bowl and the counter? It's gonna start rotting. After a while, fruit flies are gonna come, other animals are gonna come, and it's gonna rot. It's just gonna stay there and devalue, right? Just like when you take your money and you just put it in the bank for savings. By the way, this is not financial advice, but obviously inflation is a thing, so it's gonna lose value over time just being there. But when you plant the seed, aka you invest it, it will return you dividends. It may not be instantaneous, but it will return you dividends. It will give you a tree that will give you mango babies, and you will have mangoes for life. Your children's 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 children will have mangoes for life. So investing, that's the best analogy I can give you for investing. It's like when you get your money, put a part aside towards your money babies. Your little money babies, your little mango tree with the little mango babies, your little money tree with the money babies, okay? They say money doesn't grow on tree. When you invest, it's as if it does, okay? So I want you to do that. When you do that, you're not just living from day to day, from paycheck to paycheck, from moment to moment. You have longevity, and therefore you become your own sugar daddy, right? When you think about like these typical sugar daddies, you see this wealthy man, right? They tend to invest. They have assets, whether it's real estate or stocks or whatever kind of assets, or you're investing in yourself and your knowledge and your wisdom, in a skill, maybe learning to sell, right? You're investing, it's going to pay you back dividends. And last one is number 5, and it is all about changing how you see debt. Changing how you see debt and how you spend. A lot of times we have debt and we beat ourselves up about it. But guess what? Money is there's also an energetic side to money, right? Money is a currency, it's energy, right? Everything is energy. Like this is energy, this is energy, this is energy. You are made of atoms and cells, right? So everything is energy at the core. Everything is energy vibrating at different frequencies and at different rates. Money is also just a form of energy. It's the energy of an exchange. Back in the day, we would say, okay, give me half of your cow and I will give you 10,000 of my chickens, right? Or 10 of my chickens, 100 of my chickens, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say, right? But now we use money as a currency to give that same exchange of value. And it is what we both agreed upon that something is worth. And I give you the thing in exchange for the money, whether it's my time, whether it's a service, whether it's a product, right? I give you that in exchange for the money. And so we both agreed on a term of how much this thing is worth. So when you have that now, we have this agreed upon term about money. When you see debt is simply the request or the ability to pay for and give the exchange of monetary value over time. So say you have student loans, instead of paying for it upfront, you are taking the value and you're just spreading it out over time. Okay? If you have a car loan, it is not, oh my God, I have this debt and it's crippling. No, it is, I have the blessing and the privilege and the honor to pay this thing over time. Guess what? When you do that, you release the guilt around it, you release the shame around it, and you are then able to exhale and become a better match for money. You're no longer seeing money through the lens of lack and negativity and guilt and shame. You're able to see it from the place of openness, spaciousness, gratitude. Wow, blessings. And when you are in that state of, I am so blessed, there is so much gratitude. Oh my gosh, wow, I'm so honored that I have the opportunity to pay this over time. Guess what? I'm so honored I'm so blessed. I'm so grateful. And you're knowing how to sell, and you have good relationships with people, and you're also having investing, and you have the discipline to show up when you say you're going to show up, you're going to increase your income. So you will end up paying off the debt without even realizing. So I remember going through this with one of my financial mentors, right? So we were looking at my income, we're looking at what are my expenses, we're looking at my insurance, we're looking at my investing, and we're looking at my debts. Now, at the time, I wasn't looking at my finances, and I just remembered feeling like I have this big hole of debt. But when I looked at it, I was like, I didn't have a lot of debt. I was like, oh, that's something I could pay that off in a month if I really wanted to. Or if I wanted to spread it out, I could pay it out over 6 months, 4 months, 3 months. But really and truly, if I wanted to, I could go all in and decide to pay that off in a month. I was like, but I didn't realize, because the guilt and the shame around it had me in so much lack that I didn't realize, oh, this is my income, this is my expense, these are my insurance, these are my investments. Oh, my debt is actually relatively small. So I share this with you because when you drop the guilt, when you drop the drama, when you drop the fear, when you drop the shame around your debt, you actually begin to see your finances more objectively. You still have the debt and you're still going to pay it off, but you're not acting out of lack and limitation and constricting and anxiety, right? Waking up every day feeling anxious. So you have to change how you see your debt, all right? Change how you see your debt. Then I also want, moving forward, how you use your debt. And again, this is not financial advice, so seek advice on this. But what I think is a wise thing to do is to use your debts as investments, and then use the money babies from your investments to pay for your fun things. Okay, that's one thing I can say. Of course, if you want me to talk more about this topic, drop some yellow emojis because that will tell me what topic you guys want me to talk about. But all in all, if you want to be your own sugar daddy, these are the 5 things I would say to start with. There are more things we can do, but I would say start with these 5. You cannot go wrong with mastering sales. You cannot go wrong with self-discipline. You cannot go wrong with investing. You cannot go wrong with how you handle debt and how you see debt and how you navigate your debt. You cannot go wrong with being a person that people trust. All of this will increase your income. All of this will increase your income. And in increasing your income, guess what? You become your own sugar daddy. Okay? If you enjoyed this, definitely check out the Rich Babe quiz below, which helps you to find out what's your biggest money block or your biggest block towards becoming a rich babe and stepping into your rich babe era. Go ahead and check that out. And remember to share this video with a friend, because listen, when you're there being a hottie and a baddie and a rich babe who is your own sugar daddy, you want friends who are doing the same, right? Okay, so send it to your girlfriends so that they can level up financially just like you. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.